So you just got done watching the fights. The kids are asleep. The wife's in the other room doing, well, what wives do.
Am I the only one that does a goddamn thing around here? How hard is it to pick up after yourself?
So decision time. You could either go in the other room and deal with...
After all I've done today, you expect me to wanna...
Or keep it locked right here, because it's time for the Billy C post-fight wrap-up on the BillyCBoxing.com network. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Billy C.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Billy C, and it's time for Billy C's Stiverne-Wilder post-fight show, or should I say Wilder-Stiverne's post-fight show. Fight just got done. In case you missed it, unanimous decision for Deontay Wilder. Joining me right now from ringside in Las Vegas, the raging babe herself, Michelle Rosado. Michelle, what's happening?
Hey, Billy, what's going on? It's so electrifying here right now. It's awesome. We got a new U.S. heavyweight.
Well, tell me about the feeling that was going on during the fight, ringside. I mean, what I saw was actually, in my opinion, I saw a fighter in Deontay Wilder that seemingly followed the game plan of a more organized and a better corner. I mean, I think Mark Breland did a great job, and I think that Stiverne just didn't let his hands go. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Well, Stiverne not only didn't let his hands go, but he wasn't really moving his head. He wasn't cutting off the ring. He was playing follow the leader. And Deontay really showed us that he got some boxing skills. I mean, he was pretty much jabbing Stiverne to death for a while there. You heard him a few times, stumbled him, tackled him. I mean, it was just a really exciting fight. But Deontay showed us that he has, different dimensions to him. And his chin was tested a bit tonight, and that was my concern about him, was his chin, and it's pretty solid.
Yeah, his chin definitely surprised me, that's for sure. I mean, Stiverne did land a couple of shots, but, nothing seemed like it landed flush. I think the movement of Wilder kept Stiverne at bay, and when you added that with him not throwing any punches, the end result was what we saw. I mean, not only did Wilder employ a good game plan with his jab and stuff like that. What's your thoughts on him now as a champion? I mean, do you think he's going to carry it for a while or what?
Well, I hope he does, because he's so charismatic. And he's got this awesome personality, and I think he is good for boxing. I'm not saying he's the most skillful, the most talented heavyweight, but I think he's good for boxing. I think he'll be around for a little while. Who do we see him fight next? Does he go to NBC to stay on Showtime? Those are a bunch of unknowns. Hopefully in the post-fight presser we can get some of those answered for you guys. But I will tell you, the one thing that did impress me the most about Wilder was he would take some big shots, but he would then retaliate. He didn't get scared. He didn't get on his wheels. He didn't start running around. I really like how he would fire back and retaliate.
I was impressed with how he followed instructions. In arguably the biggest fight that he had as a pro. I wouldn't know what he thought, in comparison to the Olympics, but as a pro winning the world title, he kept his composure, and that was something I didn't think he could do, and he did. And in Stiverne's corner, they seemed to, all they did was cheer him on. They were rah-rah men. I didn't see really any technical advice that was given to Stiverne. Not that he was listening, but what did you get any chance to? Did you get a chance to get any hear anything that was going on in the corners?
No, I didn't get to hear the corners. I'm here like in the fifth row in the media section. But what I will say is, a lot of people didn't give Wilder a chance. I don't know what was being said in the corners, but I don't want anything to be taken away, from him in this win, because people were saying Stiverne was the more experienced. He was battle tested. He was this and this. So let's not take anything away from Wilder. He fought a great fight. He made the right adjustments. He had a legit corner. And he was a better man.
One last thing. I know you got to run to the post fight, but one last thing. I could, excuse me. I noticed that it wasn't sold out, at least the views I was getting from TV. What was the case with the attendance? How could they not have sold out for arguably the biggest heavyweight fight in years?
You know, I live in Las Vegas, and I've been saying it for weeks. There was not enough grassroots marketing. I go to boxing gyms. I work out at a boxing gym. I didn't see flyers. I didn't see posters in there. It was just really odd. I think they were playing some radio commercials this week, but that was probably, you know, too little too late. The billboards were nice, but again, not enough grassroots marketing, going into the communities here and letting them know about the fights and bringing them out. Now, the place did fill up once the main event came around. I did hear that they gave away quite a few tickets, but we had just about over 8,600 people here.
Wow. Well, listen, Michelle, I really appreciate your time, and I happened to be sitting next to another raging babe last night at the Friday Night Fights, and Gina wanted me to say hello to you and give a shout out.
Gina, yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she was. We had a good time, and we saw some fights. So listen, I appreciate your time, and if I'm done, I would like to call you back if you could find out any other stuff from the post fight. If you got time, maybe I could call you in another 45 minutes or so if you got time.
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Sounds good. I'm going to head up there now.
All right, good. I'll call you and see if you can give us any insight on the post fight.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot, Michelle.
Talk to you soon.
That's Michelle Rosado. She's in Las Vegas right now at the fight. She's on her way to the post-fight news conference. In case you're just joining us, we have a new WBC world champion. And, of course, in addition to Deontay Wilder, now the WBC world heavyweight champion, you will see one day next week I had lost a bet with my man Nobody Here, and I'll be wearing TMT gear because I'm a man of my word, and I don't get my bottle of scotch. So whenever I get the TMT gear, I will be wearing it on our show. The phone line is open for your thoughts, 845-228-8710. If you call and you don't get an answer right away, it stops ringing. That means somebody else is on the line. We're going to take one caller at a time. The phone line is open, 845-228-8710. On the undercard, Amir Aman continues his winning ways. He improves to 16-0 with 14 knockouts in a pretty exciting fight. In round 2, a right hand from Ayman dropped Fidel Maldonado down, and he got back up. In round 3, it started off with Aman hitting the canvas for the first time in his career. He gets up and drops Maldonado not once but twice. And then in the 5th round, the end came at 2:59, giving Amir Aman the victory. 16-0 now, like I said, with 14 knockouts. Fidel Maldonado drops to 19-3, and Amir Aman is looking for bigger and better things. In the co-main event, Leo Santa Cruz won a TKO by stopping Jesus Ruiz at 29 seconds of the 8th round to improve to 29-0 with 1 draw and 17 knockouts. He promises to face nothing but the best from here on in. And speaking of here on in, joining me right now is Dax Khan. Dax, man, what's your thoughts on the fight, brother?
I think, impressed with Deontay Wilder. It's good to know he has a plan B, not just power. Because let me tell you something, Bermane Stiverne has a chin on him. My gosh, he got hit with a few of them really, really solid shots. He went back, but he didn't go down. And Deontay Wilder, he was smart. He stepped back a little bit. He didn't tire himself out. He listened to his instructions from Mark Breland very well. So all the credit to him. Now, I was, saying this on social media during the fight and stuff, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Deontay Wilder because, he fought a smart fight, good win. He proved a lot of critics wrong. I did pick him last week, but anyway, Bermane Stiverne just really wasn't doing anything. I think you know, he might have been hoping that Deontay was going to tire himself out, and because Deontay has so much power that, you know, that power just seems to sap away any ability that Bermane was going to have later on to rally back. But, you know, it was disappointing. You know, it definitely wasn't, you know, did not live up to the bill. But, you know, congratulations to Deontay Wilder. You know, he broke America's streak, you know, so what can you say? You know, it was good for him and good for boxing. And, you know, if anything, it opens up the heavyweight division for more exciting fights. But it also puts emphasis on why Vladimir Klitschko and before Vitaly retired, why they have owned the division for so many years.
Well, it'll be interesting to see who Deontay Wilder fights next. And, you know, if he is willing to really take control of the heavyweight division, he's obviously going to look for bigger and better fights. So we'll see. And like you said, we got to give him all the credit in the world. I agree. I don't think that Stiverne did anything in the fight, but you know, we got to credit Wilder for preventing him from doing anything, and I also credit Wilder's corner for being more technically sound, making sure that Wilder followed the game plan. He did to a T, and they didn't make any adjustments. Don House, who I know normally does a decent job, and he didn't do anything in the corner of Bermane Stiverne except plead with him and be a rah-rah man. So again, the lack of good teachers and trainers, I think, is hurting the sport. But, hey, the fighters did what they did, and Wilder did what he needed to do, and he won the fight.
To be honest with you, I don't think that Stiverne really had to do anything other than something. You know, when he did land some shots on Deontay Wilder, you know, he was having some success on there, and when he was moving his head, he was having success. But I just cannot understand that strategy of him standing there, you know, with the guard high. At first I could understand it, but once Wilder started getting through with it, why wasn't he moving his head? He was just taking shot after shot after shot, and Deontay didn't get tired. You know, Deontay, what I really was impressed most about with him is when Stiverne was backing up to the ropes, you know, Wilder, you know, was smart enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to stand here and go in there because I know what this guy's going to do. The only thing on this card that I did see backfire a little bit are some of these fights that were supposed to be showcase fights. Leo Santa Cruz, you know, he did not look that good tonight against Jesus Ruiz. Leo Santa Cruz is in no way, shape, or form ready for Rigondeaux, and Amir Imam needs to stop calling out Danny Garcia and needs to stop calling out Adrian Broner because he looked very vulnerable tonight himself. But Lasher Shabinsky, I really liked him tonight. He was very impressive as well. You know, Garrett Wilson's, you know, pretty tough guy. And, you know, Shabinsky was able to just shut him down. So it was a good card all in all. But like you said, I just love to see what Wilder follows up with next. And I would even like to see a rematch and just see maybe if it just wasn't off night for Stiverne. It happens. Yeah,
good point. Hey, Dax, we're going to let you go. We got a lot of calls coming in and get the thoughts of some of the listeners, all right?
Absolutely. Have a good night.
Take care. That's Dax Khan. You can check out his column up on BillyCBoxing.com. We got another caller on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Billy C. How's it going? My name is Chris. I'm originally from New Jersey, but I moved to Tampa. Got into your show a few months ago, and I've been hooked.
Cool, man. Cool. Another guy from New York down to Florida. I'm not too far behind. What's your thoughts on the fight, brother?
Listen, I was incredibly impressed with Wilder's performance. Wasn't expecting that at all, and at the same time, really disappointed with Stiverne's performance. I was shocked to see Wilder with that effective jab through the whole fight. I mean, I guess his trainers really were on top of it.
Yeah,
I just wasn't expecting that at all.
I agree with you 100%. Exactly everything you said, word for word, I agree with. You know, I was impressed with Wilder and at the same time super disappointed with Bermane Stiverne. I agree. And I really think, you know, listen, we all know the fighters got to do what they're, you know, what the game plan is. If they don't carry the game plan out, I mean, you know, it's hard to blame a corner. But it's in this world of we, you know, I mean, let's put some let's put some of the blame let's put some of the blame on the corner, because I think that Deontay Wilder's corner, they deserve to win. They did everything right, and Stiverne's corner didn't, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I also was pretty disappointed with Bermane Stiverne's like his post-fight talk, how he kind of like blamed himself, saying he wasn't in top form and stuff like that. It just kind of seemed a little like petty excuses. Like, you can't like blame Wilder. You know, he had that effective jab. Every time you see, a lot of times during the fight, you saw Stiverne throw these big looping hooks to the body, into the head, and Wilder just avoided it. He had a really good head movement, just got out of the way, and I was shocked. He wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah, he saw the punches coming. He just was, I mean, everything worked for him, you know, and listen, the preparation was there. And you know, I didn't hear the post-fight because we were setting up to go live. I didn't hear any post-fight comments. But, you know, I mean, this is a guy that said, you know, in Stiverne, that, you know, he was ready and that Wilder wasn't ready and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden...
Yeah, he 100% back.
Yeah, you can't...
from that at all.
How
can you get a chance to listen to it?
Yeah, how can you get on behind a mic and say, oh, it's my fault, I wasn't prepared? What are you talking about? You know, I mean, come on. Hey, listen, I thought an aggressive style... you know, backing Wilder up could have beat him. And even when Stiverne was doing that, he wasn't letting his hands go. And you know what? When he did let his hands go, he wasn't too accurate either. He wasn't. Yeah, I don't think he really landed anything as flush as they make it sound on Wilder.
Yeah, of course. The announcers like hype it up. That's for sure.
Yeah. Did you think he landed many flush punches?
No, I agree with you. I mean, there were definitely some shots when, like, you know, when Stiverne was able to somewhat cut the ring off. I think some of, like, the overhand, like, rights, I believe, like, were kind of landing. But, yeah, not flush, nothing big. You know, all the really flush punches came from, you know, that jab and the cross when Wilder would land the right. And he hurt Stiverne a couple times, you know, besides that fiasco in the second round where he was just throwing those wild hooks. And then Stiverne, it looked like he was falling down, and they both collapsed, you know.
Yeah, that was a weird scene right there. But what's your thoughts on where each of the fighters go from here?
Really good question. I haven't really thought too much about it. I mean, obviously, you know, in the dream world, we want to see Wilder make some defenses against some top guys and then Klitschko. But, you know, as you've said on the show before, you don't believe that's going to happen. You know, he's going to take a lot of, like, easy fights, and I think that'll happen because they built his career this way. But, you know, at least Wilder showed us today that he can fight, you know, a full 12 rounds. And he didn't really look like he was tired at all. Maybe like the 6th round he looked a little tired, but that was it. So, you know, I'd like to see Wilder make some defenses, and hopefully they pair him up with the right fighters, but you know how the business is. And then as for Stiverne, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, maybe a rematch, but I don't think it's warranted.
One last question. For Deontay Wilder, do you think he will fight Tyson Fury next?
I would love that. That actually would be a great fight, and I hope they can make that happen. A Tyson Fury-Wilder fight would be great. But, you know, I got to support Wilder. I was very skeptical of him like you, but I wanted to like him, and, you know, I think his showmanship and showboating, you know, can go a little far, but I'm happy for him to win. And, you know, I'm from America, so I'm happy to have an American champion, and Shannon Briggs can't say that he is the last American champion anymore. So
thank God for that.
Maybe he won't talk as much.
Thank God for that. And, you know, the one thing, I agree with you, and the one other thing I'd like to add is, you know, Deontay Wilder won the fight convincingly. I mean, he left no doubt. Yeah, he left no doubt. So there's no, you know, nobody could say, you know, oh, no, he got a gift decision. I scored it 117-111. And, you know, the judges. Yeah,
I had it the same way.
Yeah, the judges were, you know, one of them scored every round for Wilder, but it was that close. So, hey, man, it was great chatting with you.
I'm glad 2 rounds, really, for Stiverne, really.
I'm glad you listened to the show, and would love to have you call back sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you. Keep up the good work, Billy.
All right. Thanks, brother. Take care. The fight, hey, you know what? I'll be wearing TMT gear on our regular show. If you're new, we do a daily 2-hour boxing talk, Talking Boxing with Billy C. It airs 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here on BillyCBoxing.com. You can also catch the internet version up on YouTube So check that out. Hey, listen, the phone line is open. We are taking one caller at a time. So if you try to call and it hangs up real quick, that means we got somebody on the line. And speaking of somebody on the line, we got somebody on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, how's it going? This is my name is Johnny Wright, and I am calling you from Tennessee.
Hey, John. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on the fight, brother?
You know, I was really surprised. First of all, I didn't think there was any chance in the history of the world this would have gone to a decision and without one knockdown. It just goes to show, as Larry Merchant said, you know, the theater of the unexpected. I'm really not sure. I'd love to hear your guys' impression of it. I thought at the beginning that Stiverne was just trying to get him past 4 or 5, you know, and then he was going to open up. And Stiverne appeared to do the same thing for essentially the whole fight. He didn't go for it. I mean, really go for it once. I don't know if he was that intimidated by Wilder's power. I mean, I really didn't have a comment as much as just all these questions. Like, I don't know if Wilder was really good tonight, because, I mean, it wasn't like this. I didn't think it was a brilliant performance. But Stiverne looked, if anything, it reminded me somewhat, and I hate to do this comparison, it's unfair, but it reminded me a little bit of Vladimir Klitschko and David Haye in the sense that I literally expected like a war, and it was actually a pretty one-sided fight. Now, I'm not in any way, you know, comparing saying Stiverne or even David Haye putting him down, but, you know, it didn't really go as expected, and Stiverne seemed really weak in this fight. I don't know what happened. I mean, what was your take on the performances? I mean, I just was very, very surprised. I didn't know who was going to win. I went back and forth on it 50 times, but I thought it would end within 5 rounds almost for sure.
I in a million years, I wouldn't have thought it went to distance. I thought Stiverne would knock out Wilder. I was wrong. I thought Wilder did a fantastic job. They followed the game plan. I look at Stiverne, and I don't want to take credit away from Wilder because, you know, he won the fight and he prevented Stiverne from doing what I thought the same as you, that he was playing around for the first couple of rounds, and I figured that he would employ the same thing he was doing, but then all of a sudden let his hands go, and he never did. I have to ask myself, you know, if Bermane Stiverne was the world champion, I mean, as a fighter, you know, when you the first things you learn as a fighter, as an amateur, is how to, you know, work against the jab, you know, how to get under a jab, how to you know, combat a jab, and the other thing that's extremely important and something you learn early on is how to cut the ring off, and those are two things that Bermane Stiverne did not do, you know, and although I don't want to take credit away from Wilder because he made Stiverne not be able to do it, I really have to question his overall ability level and his corner for not, you know, hitting home. Hey, you got to cut the ring off, you know, beat him, take that step first, you know, let your hands go, you know, get under the jab. I mean, just normal things. I didn't hear any technical advice in the corner of Stiverne.
No, I agree with you. And, you know, what occurred to me, one thing that occurred to me is, if anything good came out of the fight, I mean, wasn't really rooting for one particular guy. This is just, to me, a real interesting fight. But if one thing good came out of it is this: if Wilder's jab, I mean, he has a good, you know, a decent jab. It's not. I don't think yet. He may get more polished, but it was a decent. I mean, it certainly was decent enough with Stiverne. But if Wilder's jab was able to do this to Stiverne and keep him off his game, if that's what did it, and if it was Wilder's jab that made Stiverne unable to cut off the ring, if it was Wilder's jab that dictated the pace of the fight, then it is an utter certainty that although Vladimir Klitschko, we know, has a questionable chin, there's no question, to me, that Vladimir Klitschko would have easily dominated Bermane Stiverne if Wilder's jab was able to do this, because Klitschko does have an excellent jab, and he's ready, you know, he's wanting to protect himself. So, judging for tonight, you'd have to say the guy who would have a better chance against Vladimir Klitschko, just judging from tonight, would probably be Wilder, which and I'm only saying that because of styles. I just think that Stiverne, if he went in with this game plan against Vladimir Klitschko, would have gotten it, and worse because of Klitschko's jab. You know what I mean? And he never would have closed the ring up on Klitschko.
Right.
So, it leaves a lot of questions.
And he also seemed to really have a hard time with the size difference, which is another thing he would have had with Klitschko. So, I'm okay with the fight because, the last thing I want is a champion, or at least a guy we're calling a champion, who really doesn't deserve a belt. And if Stiverne was the guy with the belt and Deontay Wilder beat him the way he did tonight in a dominating fashion, well, then Wilder deserves to be the champion.
Absolutely.
But I think he poses an interesting challenge for Klitschko. My argument about Klitschko always is Klitschko has become proficient in fighting smaller guys. But what about when he fights a guy the same size, if not bigger? That was one of my interesting, why I was interested in seeing Tyson Fury fight Klitschko. Well, now I'm interested in seeing Deontay Wilder fight a guy like Tyson Fury. I don't think he's going to go right after Klitschko, but maybe a Tyson Fury could be up next. What's your thoughts, real quick, on that before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's a really, really interesting fight. Judging from they both had their last performances were both interesting, based on the fact that they fought a little bit. Both of them went. They were decisions, and essentially they jabbed a lot. Both of them, Fury and Wilder. Personally, I would probably go with Fury, based on I think there's a slight experience level. I also like the fact that he switches back and forth and everything. But the big question is, was it Stiverne's chin or his experience that made him not go down from those punches tonight? You gotta think it was his chin. Fury's chin is questionable. And that's so. I'm skirting the issue. I would pick Fury. I'm very skeptically in the whole, because I think he fought a more defensive fight last night. I think he might be able to, and he's got a little more power. I think he might be able to do it. And his size, I think he's bigger, isn't he, than Wilder? About an inch taller.
Yeah.
Taller than Wilder?
Yeah. Tyson Fury's a little bigger, but you're right about his suspect chin, Tyson Fury. And I do have to give Stiverne credit.
Steve Cunningham, who was really a cruiserweight.
Right, Steve Cunningham. I mean, he dropped him, and I think Stiverne proved that he had a chin. He took a lot of solid shots. I mean, Wilder was landing solid shots on Stiverne. So, but anyway, hey, listen, brother, I appreciate the call, and tune into our regular show. We would love to have you call in.
I sure will, man. And it's nice being friends on Facebook. I enjoy everything.
All right, brother. Take care. Thanks for the call.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Great fight. If you're a Deontay Wilder fan, we got the phone lines a-buzzing. If you've been trying to call in and you didn't get through right away, that means somebody was on the line. You could try in right now. The line is free, 845-228-8710. We're talking about the post-fight show. It's Billy C's Stiverne-Wilder post-fight show. In case you missed it, Deontay Wilder had a career-defining performance against Bermane Stiverne to wrangle the WBC World Heavyweight title from Stiverne. Deontay Wilder is the new WBC World Heavyweight Champion in a great performance. We got a caller on the line right now. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Billy C. This is Isaac from San Diego, California.
Hey, brother. What's happening, man? What's your thoughts on the fight?
Oh, man, let me tell you. I felt like I was watching the Lennox Lewis versus Tyson fight all over again, man.
It was one-sided. It was kind of like that.
My buddies and I were watching it, and we were just like, Stiverne was reaching the whole time. We're like, man, what's going on here?
I mean, Stiverne, it was almost like, like my last caller from Tennessee was like, I was waiting for him to open up, and so was I. I thought it was a great game plan those first couple of rounds. I mean, the punches really weren't getting through, and I figured, okay, he's going to let his hands go, and he just never did. Exactly. It's sort of like when a catcher can't throw the ball back to the pitcher. He just couldn't pull. He just couldn't pull his trigger, and it cost him the fight. How much do you blame on his corner?
You know what? Honestly, I think they just didn't do a good job of adapting. I mean, they just kind of kept doing the same thing over and over again, where they were just trying to headhunt. You know what I mean? They were just trying to go for the knockout punch, and Wilder had a good game plan. He just kept kind of like, not falling for the trap of getting counterattacked. It kind of reminds me when Pacquiao and Marquez fought. Pacquiao got kind of careless, and he went for the knockout, and Marquez just countered him and knocked him out. with Wilder, he fought a good game plan. He was smart. He kind of stayed back, and he didn't like go for the knockout after he had Wilder hurt. I mean, I'm sorry, Stiverne, if you had him hurt.
Yeah, Wilder fought very poised, and he did everything I didn't think he would do. I was totally wrong on this fight. I thought that Wilder would make the mistakes. I thought that Stiverne would be the calm, cool, collective guy and break Wilder down, and it was the complete opposite. Wilder controlled the fight. His jab was fantastic. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't trying. I'm sure he was trying for the knockout, but he didn't get baited to come in. And he used. He made sure Bermane Stiverne's strengths were not being used. And I, as much as it pains me, because now I'm going to be wearing TMT gear all this week or
I was
whatever
about
again.
to say that too. I was about to say, because it's nice to have a heavyweight American champion. It's been a while, but I mean, having you wear the TMT, I can't stand Mayweather. I think he's a big scumbag. So
I know. Well, listen, I made a bet and I'm a man of my word, so I lost the bet. So I'm sure I'm going to be and my man, nobody here gets to choose what TMT gear I wear. So whenever it arrives this week, I'll be wearing it on air. But the bottom line is, Wilder deserved it. I mean, he looked good. What do you think's next for him?
You know what? To be honest with you, it would be a good matchup. Let's not necessarily go to Klitschko yet, but I'm thinking like my buddies and I were talking about it. Maybe like Tyson Fury would be a good matchup, a good test for him, because he showed tonight that he has a solid chin. He took some hard shots from Stiverne. Those are some hard shots that knocked down Areola and pretty much knocked him out. So I'm thinking maybe Tyson Fury would be a good step up next, and after that, who knows? Maybe Klitschko would be a good challenge for him.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
The guy has, like you said, I've listened to you before. I'm a long-time listener, and I listen to your show every day. And one of the things that you did mention, I saw my friends too, is that you're right. The guy has chicken legs, but his upper body he's just gargantuan. That guy's huge. His shoulders are that guy's a beast. So he can hold his own against some hard punchers.
Well, the thing is that's what people are going to say, and I'll watch the fight again. But my early take and my first view take is that Stiverne really didn't land anything flush. I don't think that, I know everybody's going to say that Wilder showed that he's got a chin and everything, but I don't recall seeing any super, landing flush punches by Stiverne. Maybe, I think less than 5 throughout the whole fight. So I credit Wilder's movement and his head movement and his jab for preventing Stiverne for that. So I think Wilder gets the credit. But I'm still convinced that when somebody connects with him, those chicken legs are going to fail him. It's proven, in the history of the sport, his own trainer, his weakness was his legs, but not tonight, And tonight he's the champ, and he deserves all the credit. And like you guys, I want to see him fight Tyson Fury. I think he's got a good chance of beating Tyson Fury. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if Team Fury, if it's a smart fight against Wilder at this stage. I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting.
No, you're right. That's a good point. Maybe if Fury wants to chicken out or something, maybe they can go against David Hay or somebody like that.
Well, Fury's looking for a title, so why wouldn't he maybe go the other route? Remember, Shigayev's got the WBA belt, so maybe he goes.
True.
Maybe he goes for that. He goes for that, and then maybe he goes for a unification fight, make it a little more worthwhile. Remember, Wilder made more money than Stiverne in this fight, so obviously he's going to be demanding big coin.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts? Any final thoughts before we let you go? We got some other callers calling in.
Sure. No. I just want to say, I really enjoy your show. It makes my end of the day at work that much worthwhile. Down the home stretch at 2 in the afternoon because I'm over here in the West Coast. So I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. It's appreciated, and thanks for everything. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling, and hey, sometime call in during the weekly show, man. We'd love to hear from you.
Sounds like a time, but take it easy.
All right, brother. Take care. We got another caller coming in. I know I just missed you, but my man from San Diego, him and some buddies watching. Hey, listen. The United States has become, for boxing, we've become, let's watch it at home. I was a little disappointed. We had Michelle Rosado on to kick off the show. She's ringside, the Raging Babe herself. I am going to try to go to her here in a little while to see if we can get any post-fight information, but I was a little disappointed that the live gate wasn't as good as I would have thought. I would have thought the place would have been packed. I mean, it was the biggest heavyweight. I mean, we're talking heavyweights here. The heavyweight division. It was a good fight. It was a good matchup. There was a lot of anticipation for this fight. I mean, we had been looking forward to this fight on this show for a long time, and the interest level I got from you guys, the fans, I mean, we were all jacked up for this. I mean, this show is proving it. Phone line is open. I know a bunch of people have been trying to call. We're going to take one at a time. When they come in all at once, I can't grab them, but 845-228-8710. Interesting to see what Deontay Wilder does next. When I look at the heavyweight division, I see a couple of names there. Now, let's throw in and sprinkle in the Al Heyman mix. We all know that Al Heyman is the advisor for Deontay Wilder. He just recently signed Artur Spicka, the young Polish fighter that just beat Tomasz Adamek. Look for possibly him being matched up with Wilder coming up in his next fight. I'm anticipating Deontay Wilder to have a defense or two, or maybe even three, before we see him in what I'm going to call a big, meaningful fight. I would like to see him go for a guy like Tyson Fury, but I have a strange feeling that Artur Spicka is going to be the next opponent that we hear. We got somebody on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Billy C, man? This is Louis V.
Hey, Louis, what's up, brother? What's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing?
What's your thoughts?
I just think that, it seemed like Stiverne was just trying to prove he could take Deontay Wilder's shot all night. He wasn't letting his hands go. He wasn't moving his head. He did land a few solid shots. You got to give Deontay Wilder, credit for taking those.
Well, I mean, if his game plan, brother, was to prove that he could take the shots, then somebody should have whispered in his ear that maybe he should think something else, because you can't win a fight like that. I mean, like a couple of the callers said, I was waiting for the whole friggin' fight for him to just let his hands go. I mean, Dak said earlier he had to do something, and he really didn't. And I hate to harp on that because I don't want to take away from Wilder, because I think Wilder did such a great performance. It's kind of, I don't want it to be a bittersweet, but geez, Stiverne did nothing.
Yeah, he did nothing at all, and they both fighters seem kind of sluggish to me, but mostly Stiverne. He wasn't letting his hands go at all.
What's your thoughts on Stiverne not having the ability to get under that jab or even cut the ring off, something that as well as anyone that fighters learn early on in a boxing career? I mean, here's a world champion, and he didn't didn't even try to cut off the ring right. He just followed Wilder around.
Why did he keep talking to him? I mean, he was like, they were in there arguing with each other. He wasn't trying to land any shots. He just kept circling around and kept talking to him. I don't know what he was trying to do in there. He looked really sluggish. Really, really sluggish.
Yeah, I mean, you mean Stiverne?
Yes.
Yeah. Stiverne, because I thought that Wilder was slowing down a little bit, but he still kept the game plan intact. Listen. There's not much you can criticize about Wilder's performance. It's the criticism, as far as I'm concerned, the criticism goes to Stiverne, and based on that performance, some people are saying, oh, maybe a rematch. I'm not so sure. I mean, I think Wilder deserves to move on to the next step.
I think I'd like to see a rematch simply because I think Stiverne would come with a better game plan, and he would learn from his mistakes like he said he would. And I think he'd come a little harder next time. But it makes me think about what a fight with Arreola would have been like. I mean, I think he would have shut him out. I think Wilder would have shut Arreola out. And I don't even think a fight with Tyson Fury would be too challenging for Wilder. I think Wilder takes him out too.
Well, so what are you saying? That Wilder's ready right now for like a Klitschko?
No, not ready for Klitschko. No, I just think that
a fight with Tyson Fury, I think he beats Fury quite easily.
I think
he's a more athletic fighter. I think that, I trust Wilder's chin a lot more than I trust Fury's chin at this point, and I think that Wilder would definitely take Fury out.
I think that Wilder's power poses a problem for Tyson Fury, and that's based on a guy like Steve USS Cunningham dropping him.
Exactly.
But I think what poses an issue and a question mark for Wilder is my same issue with Klitschko. How do they do when they fight a guy bigger than them? They're used to fighting smaller guys, so that's a whole nother dimension. Deontay Wilder's never stepped in the ring with someone that's bigger than him, and Tyson Fury would be slightly taller, so...
Klitschko doesn't look as sluggish as Wilder does, though. Even being that size, even being older than Wilder, he doesn't look. To me, Klitschko is way more athletic than Deontay Wilder is. But what did you think about your man Leo Santa Cruz?
I don't know, man. I mean, I figured he should have taken that kid out a little sooner. I agreed with what my man Dak said earlier. He's calling out some of these names like Rigondeaux. I just don't think even Abner Mares. I think these guys move up too quick sometimes in the weight divisions, even though they're separated. And the lower divisions aren't, separated by that many pounds. I just think that. And it was pretty proof tonight that he just didn't have the knockout. He knocked out his opponent, but he should have taken care of that guy a lot earlier on. But he's traditionally a slow starter. I wasn't impressed. I didn't think that. I liked watching Amon fight, and the Leo Santa Cruz was just like kind of like an hors d'oeuvre, But I was looking forward to the Stiverne-Wilder fight. I give Wilder the credit. I'm real disappointed in Stiverne, but it is what it is. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from this point on with the heavyweight division.
Yeah. What is the Klitschko fight with Jennings? Is that happening?
As far as I know, it was because they're threatening us with Briggs if Jennings doesn't sign. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way,
what do you think if Klitschko fights Briggs and then you get Jennings against Wilder, and then the winner goes against Klitschko? If Klitschko gets past Briggs.
Well, Wilder. Jennings technically has already earned the shot against Klitschko, so I don't see why he wouldn't take that. Briggs shouldn't even be in the discussion.
Right.
Briggs shouldn't. We shouldn't be talking about Briggs. Maybe throw Briggs to Wilder. Let's let Wilder fight Briggs. And we'll get rid of Briggs there.
Right.
Because Wilder's going to look for. He's not looking for Klitschko in his next fight. He's going to look for. I wouldn't be surprised, like I said earlier, Turspitska might be a name that you see get thrown up because Heyman just signed him. He's a heavyweight. He's got an impressive record. He's coming off of the Tomaz Adamak win. He's a top-ranked fighter. On paper, it looks like a good matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see next.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a rematch back against Stiverne either.
Yeah, well, the only thing that would, I would question if I'm Team Wilder is, first of all, Wilder hit him with everything he had, and Stiverne didn't go anywhere. So, his knockout punch isn't there. And we also know that Stiverne can punch. I think that Stiverne is too much risk for Wilder right now. Maybe a rematch down the road, but I think we're going to see Wilder make a defense, a showcase defense. That's what I think we're going to get next with Wilder. And quite honestly, every new champion deserves a showcase defense for their first one. Don't you agree?
No.
See, I'm trying to be nice. But anyway, I'm glad you were the bad guy this time, Lou, because usually I am. But anyway, hey brother, I appreciate you calling in, and keep up the good work. All right.
No problem, Billy. I love the show, man, and I can't wait to see you in that TMT gear next week, man.
You too, huh? Well, I like you in the chat room all the time, so that's good stuff, brother.
No, this is the other Louis. That was the other Louis.
How many Louis?
This is a long time ago. Yeah, I haven't emailed in a long time. But Louis from California, he's the one you're thinking. But yeah, I was before that, Lou.
Oh, you're before Louis. You're before
Yeah,
LA.
I'm left hook Louis. My email's left hook.
Oh, okay. I was sitting there talking to Louis, LA Louis. He's in the chat room right now.
Yeah,
left hook Louis, my man. All right, brother. Well, listen, you got to call in more often. You're still listening to the Daily Show, right?
Yeah, of course, man. Every day for the last 3.5 years.
So call in one time and give us your thoughts. We'll be good, right?
You got it, brother.
All right, man.
Take it easy.
Thanks a lot for the call. That's left hook Louis from the West Coast. So great stuff, man. He was talking about. I thought he was Louis from L.A., my man in the chat room all the time. But interesting stuff going on with who do we think Wilder should be fighting next? Listen. It's another Louis that wants to see me in the TMT gear. All of my regular listeners, I'm not a big Floyd fan. Not for any reason other than I wish that Floyd was in more of an engager, a fighter that would showcase his skills a little more. But yes, I lost the bet. I did pick Bermane Stiverne to win this fight. And as a result, I will be wearing TMT gear next week as soon as nobody here gets it to me. So for anybody that, is waiting for me to wear this gear, like come Monday, well, it's not happening on Monday because not unless nobody here drives it up to the studio himself, which I doubt he's going to do. But in any event, yes, I will be wearing TMT gear. It's funny that Left Hook Louis just said that he doesn't believe that Wilder deserves a showcase fight in his first defense. I think that's what we're going to get, whether he deserves it or not, whether, you feel he should get one of these types of fights. That's what you're going to get. You're going to see him. And listen, the Spitzka fight isn't, that bad of a fight considering Spitzka is a ranked fighter. Consider this. Deontay Wilder, and one of the reasons I didn't want him to win is because I feel it sends a bad message to young fighters that, this is a road to a title. He was totally coddled, never fought anybody, never went past 4 rounds, and he pulls a performance like he did tonight against hey, listen, make no mistake, and I picked Bermane Stiverne to win the fight, but I said he was no world beater. This was a limited guy himself. He demonstrated that to us tonight. So I mean, with that said, Wilder beat him, and he beat him convincingly. I am surprised, and I just hope that we look at Wilder as an exception, not as the new norm, because if he becomes the new norm, every young fighter is going to want to take the easy road, and that's generally not as rewarding as it happens to have been for Deontay Wilder. And the other guy that I throw into that mix is Demetrius Andrade. I believe that he kind of got coddled from the Olympics too, but he has been turning out some good performances just when he was given his chance at a title, and now Wilder has done the same. So maybe there's a link with Olympians. Phone lines are open, 845-228-8710. I was expecting a call from my man Carl King with LDL TV. I thought that they were waiting in the queue here, and I don't see it. I was going to try to reach my girl Michelle Rosado. She's ringside in Las Vegas, or right now she's probably at the post-fight news conference. We're going to try and get some thoughts there. But yeah, a lot of people asking me what's my thoughts on Leo Santa Cruz in his fight against Ruiz, and it was a little, Jesus Ruiz. I mean, he had an impressive record going in there: 32 wins, 5 losses, 5 draws, with 20 coming by knockout. Whenever you see that many draws, a fighter maybe has been robbed a couple of times, or it's the other side. He's been given a gift. Never fought a championship fight before, and I thought that he came to fight. And you could maybe even argue that Kenny Bayless might have stopped that fight a little too soon. you could make the argument, considering how the fight goes. You know, I just had a conversation with Charlie Fitch the other day over the Nick Brinson fight that a lot of people felt that, Charlie Fitch didn't do a good job. I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought he did the right thing. If you recall, Brinson was dropped, and he let him continue. Basically, you know, he could have waved that fight off, and I'm not so sure anybody could have argued with him. But, you know, at the time, Brinson was doing well, and his opponent caught him. And, the referee made the decision. You know, he was responsive, and he gave him another shot. And, just like when Torino Johnson was fighting, what's his name there, Curtis Stevens, I felt that referee stopped it. You know, when you're dominating a fight as much as some of these guys are, and then, the opponent all of a sudden gets you in a little trouble and the referee jumps in and stops it, sometimes it's not fair. And that's what Jesus Ruiz could be arguing about right now, saying that maybe the fight was stopped a little too soon and all of that stuff. I listen, the one thing that we can't do here from watching it, from your couch, is you can't see inside the fighter's eyes like the referee. So in most cases, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. I just have a hard time with any referee that says in his last-minute instructions, "What I say, you must obey." Joining us right now with my man John from LDL TV is my real man, Carl King. What's up, brother?
Hey, Billy C.
What's going on, man?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Not too bad. What happened, man? I know that you were involved with Bermane Stiverne at one point, and this was a big fight for Don. It didn't work out. I mean, this was a guy that he seemed like he didn't want to let his hands go. I mean, what happened?
You know what? It was a very flat performance, man. Very disappointing. I thought fundamentally he made a few mistakes, very fundamental errors that he made throughout the fight, like A, not cutting off the ring, B, never used his jab, and C, I don't think he never changed pace. He never shifted gears, and with those things on this level, you have to be able to do those things. And when you're fighting a taller, a longer, rangier guy like Deontay Wilder, and he just didn't do it. And he made these mistakes over and over and over again. I think his punch output was subpar. Unfortunately, this Stiverne we've seen in the past, but it's been against a much lesser type of fighters. But on this level, he needed to perform at a much higher level than what he did tonight. It was rather disappointing from where I sit.
And it just seems like, and again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Deontay Wilder, but Wilder beat Stiverne tonight with a jab and Stiverne's inability to cut the ring off. Two fundamentals that you would think that a fighter, especially at a world championship level, would know. I gotta ask, how much blame do you put on a corner? I mean, sometimes very few fighters run their own show. And in the case of Floyd Mayweather, he's probably one of the only guys that can get away with it. But it almost seemed tonight like Stiverne was running his show and nobody was telling him anything in the corner. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? I do think that one thing we're unaware of, Billy, is we don't know what his fight plan was, the game plan going in. But certainly the performance that he put on tonight was not the kind of performance that you would anticipate from a guy who's just been crowned champion and is fighting in his first title defense. Now, as far as the corner goes, I think at some point late in the fight, in the last few rounds, I think I heard Don House tell him about cutting the ring off, which was very, very late in the game for that. I think that you know, the corner's supposed to be your eyes outside the ring, and they should see things that you perhaps are being up close and personal may not see. The other guys in the corner, I don't believe were very significant, but you have John House, who's been there. He's been there with Stiverne for most of his career, and he's a fairly solid guy. You know what I mean? He's a solid trainer. He's not a guy that would not know these things. Unfortunately, for some reason, either the message wasn't getting across or Stiverne was not executing what the corner was instructing him. He fought the same identical pace the entire fight. He fought as if he was, 5 or 6 points ahead. He was very conservative with his punches. I don't know if that comes from a lack of conditioning. He did look fatigued in the latter part of the fight. I just think that he, when you're going up against a guy that's 32-0 with 32 knockouts, I would think that you would come in a little better prepared to make some minor adjustments during the course of the fight in the event that you had any difficulty executing Plan A. And I didn't see any of that tonight. I just seen one guy chasing the other guy around the ring, and it wasn't really chasing. He was walking him down, and he never cut the ring off. So Wilder was never put in a position of having to panic even. I mean, he had an escape route every time he got where Stiverne got up on him. He had a way out, and he utilized that all night long. And he used his jab, and he beat him with his jab. It was just very disappointing if you're a Stiverne fan to watch that unfold the way it did.
What do you think's next for Stiverne? What do you think they're going to try to do next with him?
Well, that's an interesting question because, you just a guy can ill afford to have these type of performances when he's just got to the championship plateau in the last, 6-7 months now. He's 36 years old, so here's a guy. If we're talking Floyd Mayweather, close around the same age, give or take a year or so, you're talking about a guy that may be looking to have a few more fights and then he's exiting the game. And now you got a guy that's just getting there who's, for the most part, his championship reign was beginning, and you would think that he would have, he would fight with a little more urgency than he did tonight. So going forward, I'm not sure what he can do. I'm sure trying to get a rematch is, that's probably a couple of years down the road for a guy like that. And then the other route is a Klitschko. I doubt. In order to get a Klitschko fight, maybe Klitschko might view him as an easy opponent and maybe give him a shot. That's, I would think, a bit unlikely at this point. So I don't know. Other than going back to the drawing board, what's really out there for Bermane right now? He needed. I'm not sure what he can do in the near future, but he had a golden opportunity that he let get away tonight on a very lackluster performance. And he lost the fight in fundamentals, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He just didn't. He didn't let his hands go, Billy. He did not. He chased the guy, or not chased, but he walked the guy. He walked the guy down, but he didn't cut the ring off. He didn't let his hands go, and he didn't use his jab. I think the only thing he did right was keep his left hand up, and I think he had no choice but to keep it up, or it would have been a much shorter night for him because he got hurt a couple times during the course of the fight. I think his shots were wide. His right hand was looping all night long. He never threw a straight right hand all night. He never stepped over and punched. So those things, as you alluded to earlier, you learn these things in the course of a career early on. You learn how to do these things when you're fighting 4, 6, and 8 round fights, and by the time you get to the 10-round stage, you should have at least somewhat mastered some of those fundamentals, and they should be second nature. Tonight he was absent of fundamentals, and he paid the price. He did not look like a guy who was a world champion. He didn't look like he belonged in the same sentence with the word champion tonight. He did.
Yeah, you know what? Your analysis of Stiverne, I agree with 100%. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. And it's interesting, you know, the mind of a fighter. You know, you wonder what was going on, and he was doing the right thing, except he didn't let his hands go. I think if he lets his hands go, you know, when he's walking down Wilder. For all 12 rounds, if he would have been letting his hands go, I think we would have seen a much different outcome. You know, it's a shame.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
But hey, Carl, listen, man, we're getting a lot of calls coming in. I really appreciate having you on. Hey, we got to have you back on. And as a matter of fact, I'm heading. It's too cold up here. I'm coming down pretty soon, so maybe we can get together and do some stuff, brother.
Let's do it, man. Listen, I appreciate you having me on, man. Give all your fans my best, man. You're great, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
You're going to see me soon. We'll talk soon, Carl. Thanks a lot for taking the time, brother.
All right, brother. You take care, man.
All right. Thanks a lot. Take care. Yeah. That's Carl King, and giving us his analysis on Bermane Stiverne's performance, and he's 100% right. I agree with everything that Carl just said. You know, and again, you know, this is, you know, I mean, it's our job to give thoughts on both sides, you know, and I think that even though 75% of the fan base, according to a Showtime poll, picked Wilder to win, I really think that it's more shocking to me that he won the way he did. I don't want to not take away any of the credit that I believe Deontay Wilder deserves. I thought he fought a great fight, but Stiverne just was the complete opposite. He fought just a horrific fight. You know, I mean, I don't know what's worse. You know, on one breath we got to give Wilder all the credit in the world, and on the other one, you got to be critical of Stiverne. I don't know, man. But we got a caller on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jeff from Long Island. What's up, Billy?
Hey, man. What's up? What, I guess you were right. I was wrong, huh?
Hey, I don't want to glow too much, but hey, you.
Well, you weren't. Hey, Jess. I mean, come on, Jess. You weren't 100% right. We both agreed this fight was going to go to distance, and what did it do?
Yeah.
It went to distance. Yeah. But what I mean, you know, what's next for each one of these guys, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, bigger and better things for Deontay, right? I mean, you know, do we really want to see Deontay versus a Klitschko, though? That's the question.
Well, I mean, we want to see it, I think, because you always want to see the top fighting the top. But realistically, I don't think we're going to get it. But what do you think we're going to get? I mean, you know, you know who Wilder's with. You know how these guys work. We saw the 32 previous fights with Wilder. I mean, are we going to finally see Wilder start fighting upper echelon guys, or are we going to see some showcase fights so that they can milk the belt for a while?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I would hope this just means upper echelon fighters. I mean, you know, the way he handled Stiverne today, it was just. I mean, you know, he started off in the first couple, and did you notice he got winded though?
You know, I thought he took maybe the round that I thought he took off was the first round I gave to Stiverne, which was round 4. I thought that it looked like Wilder took that round off. That was round 4. But then the only round that I gave Stiverne, the only 2 rounds that I gave Stiverne, aside from that 4th round, I gave him the 6th round, which I thought he dominated Wilder, and I gave him the final round, which he dominated Wilder when he was supposed to, you know, give it his all. But aside from that, I thought Wilder controlled the fight, and as far as being winded, I think he was any more winded than Stiverne. You know, I was impressed with Wilder's performance. I really was.
No, yeah, and like you said, I hope that's not what we get. I mean, that's the only thing we could do as boxing fans, right? Sit back and hope for the best to happen. I hope this just means bigger and better fights. I hope it doesn't go back to milking this with a couple of easy wins, but the track record kind of shows that it will. Or, I mean, would you be that mad at a rematch?
No, but I mean, if I'm Team Wilder, listen, if I wear the business hat and I'm with Wilder, I think Stiverne is a risky fight for my first defense. I would take another ranked guy that is a top ranked fighter that is not as risky, and the guy that I think is a Tor Spitzka. I think that you're going to see him fight Wilder next. Either that or a big fight would be like Tyson Fury. I think that's a real good fight. But I have a feeling you're going to see Spitzka. Spitzka just moved his training camp from Poland to the U.S. He just signed with Al Heyman. I think all the stars are pointing to him, to tell you the truth.
Right, and and I think Wilder just proved a few doubters wrong tonight. He
proved me wrong.
That jab was executed perfectly. And I mean, it's crazy. I know you went to on your Twitter. I think you went to Turning Stone yesterday, right?
I was at Turning Stone, yeah.
Yeah, how was that? Was it a fun day or?
Yeah, the main event was good. The rest of the card was not. It was there wasn't one other good fight on that card except for the main event. But I got to sit next to a raging babe, Gina Caruso, and I had a really good time with her. So it wasn't bad. It could have been worse. Give me your final thoughts, Jesse. We're going to try and grab one more caller before we wrap it up here.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Now, my final thoughts, man. Next week, Alvarado, Bam Bam Rios. I got Bam Bam. TKO 8th round.
I like it. I like it. I think it's going to be a tough fight. We are going to be doing another post-fight show, and you're a regular listener. We'll be talking about that fight all this week. So make sure you tune in, call in, all of that stuff, and we'll be right here next week talking about that fight as soon as it's over, too. So we're going to be doing a lot of these post-fight shows this year, and I'm looking forward to it. And as a matter of fact, we'll be doing some other ones on LDL TV where we're on site and doing some special stuff. So it's going to be good, man.
Cool. And I'll talk it. I'll call in this week, too.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks for calling in, Jess.
No problem.
It's my man, Jesse, from Long Island. He's a fellow Long Islander. But he was right. He said he was picking Wilder. He went against me. And, hey, it happens. We got time for one more caller. 845-228-8710 as we wrap it up. I was talking about the Leo Santa Cruz fight a few moments ago. I'm a big Leo Santa Cruz fan, but maybe he's moved up a little too many weight classes. It's interesting to see, what's going to happen with him next. In my opinion, even though he got the knockout, it's kind of tough to be critical. Well, he seems to have lost his punching power, and he wins by knockout. I thought that Kenny Bayless actually stopped that fight a little prematurely. I thought that Jesus Ruiz deserved a little more time. I not so much the beating against the ropes, but maybe an 8 count. They could have said that the ropes were holding him up. Sometimes you owe it to a fighter that's in the fight. Now, I'm not saying he was beating the snot out of Leo Santa Cruz, but he was certainly holding his own. But anyway, joining me right now must be really early in the morning over in Holland. My man Jack, what's up, brother?
Hey Billy, how you doing, mate?
What are you having? You must be having coffee over there in Holland right now.
I am having coffee, yeah, and I'm dying of death right now. I'm gonna be going to bed any minute.
What's your thoughts? You were against me, or you did pick Wilder? I forget.
No, I picked Stiverne. I had Stiverne. I thought Stiverne was going to knock him out in the 5th round, is what I had.
Yeah. So, what's your
I was
thoughts?
so disappointed with Stiverne. I'm very impressed with Wilder. I never seen him box before, really. You know, I've seen him hit things that don't really move, but Stiverne was very disappointing. He I don't know if he didn't cut the ring off. Like, I've heard a lot of people say he didn't cut the ring off. He did. I thought he did cut the ring off, but he just didn't do anything once he got him in the position.
No,
you know,
cutting the ring
in the corner or against the ropes for
but
not for too long, because he quickly realised and got out of there. But Stiverne never capitalised on it, did he? He just stood there.
Yeah, he
content to speak to him and run his mouth. I think it was a lot of bravado. I think he was trying to sort of make him make a mistake. You know, like get in his head, and with all this talking to Wilder, and I think it was Stiverne that paid the price, because there was times where Wilder would catch him with a 1-2, and then Stiverne would try and say, oh, that was nothing, and Wilder would just smash him again. And that was just dumb. You know, that's not the sort of thing you want to be doing in your first offence of the world heavyweight title at all. And I think Stiverne can go to bed, and I doubt we'll get any sleep tonight.
No, listen. As far as cutting the ring off, he cut it off like 90% of the way. Where he was failing was he was giving an exit route for Wilder to just walk out. Like he wasn't anticipating Wilder moving away. So normally when you cut the ring off, you want to take that step first to prevent the fighter from spinning away. That's where he was failing. But I agree with you, what your basic thought was. He gets him against the corner. He gets him in the distance that he wants against the ropes or whatever. But he still failed to let his hands go like he didn't do for the whole fight. And another thing I noticed, Jack, was that Stiverne, his accuracy was nowhere near what it was in the two Areola fights. I don't think he landed anything flush on Wilder. Everybody says, oh, his chin has been tested. I'm not so sure. I didn't really see that many flush landed punches. What do you think?
No, I don't think he did land too many flush at all. There was a few glancing blows. Dax pointed out to me early he hit him in the body a few times, and I think he did as well, when Wilder didn't seem to like that. But his accuracy was horrible, wasn't it? If you didn't know those two fighters, you'd think Stiverne was the one that had never been past the first few rounds, wouldn't you? You'd think he was the one that was the amateur. It was quite. I was stunned, like the left hook. He was just. He was. It was like watching Serena Williams when she hits a backhander. It was just flying his left hand all over the place and grunting, and he couldn't get close to Wilder. I think the length had a real. I think because I watched the post-fight interview with Stiverne, and he said, I felt fine mentally, and then I got in the ring and I didn't feel right physically, and I think that's because Wilder's so much bigger and had that reach over him, and he was obviously a lot quicker than Stiverne as well. That was quite apparent. I think that was a big problem. I don't think there's any point for a rematch. I don't think Stiverne can make that difference, even if he comes in, ripped, which he never has. Well, I've never seen him in any of his old fights. His accuracy was horrible. His movement, like his head movement, was pretty much non-existent after the first, 4 rounds. He just got peppered. But he does have a hell of a chin, Stiverne. That's one thing for sure.
Somebody regarded his style as lazy, and I think that's the best definition to describe Bermane Stiverne. I think he's lazy in the ring, and I think that his laziness in the ring is going to prevent him from being in the spot that he was tonight. He could have been controlling his own destiny, and I think he failed himself. What do you think is next for Wilder? I've been talking about I would love to see him fight Tyson Fury, but I have a feeling we're going to hear him fighting Artur Spitska next. What's your thoughts on Wilder's next opponent?
I've loved the Fury fight, and I've wanted to see it for quite some time, but I can't see it being his first offence, because I think there's that's probably the biggest money fight for Wilder. I know obviously he'll get a decent payday against Klitschko, but as far as like outside of boxing interests, Wilder versus Fury will be a great money maker, I'm pretty sure, and it'll be a great fight. It'll be entertaining because they're both. And I don't know now. Before I think that Fury would have won, but now I've seen Wilder can jab and he can move. I've got a lot more faith in Wilder now. I think he's turned me.
Yeah.
But I think it's much more likely to be someone on, say, Lucas Brown level, or like who did you say the guy, the Polish guy, Spilska, was it?
Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to be him. Because he just signed with Heyman and he moved his camp to the States, so I just have a feeling we're going to see him. You know,
I think it definitely more on that sort of level, Billy, than a few. Then I don't think it'll be a guy that we consider a top 5 to 10 guy. I think it'll be a guy round about the top 20.
Yeah, well, this guy. Well, actually, Spitska is in the top 10 because he beat Tomasz Adamek. So. The formula that they have, a winnable fight with a guy that's coming off a notable win. I think everything points to Spitska. But one last thing before I let you go, as we wrap this up, what do you think is next for Stiverne? He was. I agree with everything you said about him in terms of disappointment. But where do you think he goes next? What do you think he needs to do to rebound, if he can?
I think probably the best thing for him is to try very hard to get the rematch, and because there'll probably be another decent payday for him. I'm pretty sure this was his biggest payday by over double, and so I think that's probably his best idea. Go for the rematch. It'll probably be another loss, but then he can retire. He's 36, unless he wants to become a journeyman or a gatekeeper. I don't think there's any point in trying to rebuild, and there's no point trying to get a shot at Klitschko, because if Wilder can beat him so convincingly, then Klitschko's going to really beat him.
This is true, and the whole other, truth of the whole situation with Bermane Stiverne is that prior to the Wilder fight, the only notable name on his resume is Chris Arreola. I mean, he fought Ray Austin too, but Chris Arreola twice, so you could be right. I mean, you never know. We may not even see him again. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. But he definitely let himself down, and people like me who has to wear TMT gear now next week as a result of it.
That's going to be a sight for sore eyes, that, Billy, won't it?
Yeah, I hope nobody takes any pictures of that. That's for sure. But
that'd be going viral, Billy. That'd be going viral, definitely.
Yeah, I know. I have. That's my fear, Jack. That's my fear. But listen, man, you get some sleep, brother, and I appreciate you sticking around to be part of the show.
No problem, and I'll see you on Monday. Well, I'll speak to you on Monday anyway.
All right, brother. Take care.
Cheers, Billy.
That's my man, Jack. You could actually check out his column. He's got a column. He's one of our new additions. He's originally from England, as you could tell, but he's living in Holland, and he's got a column up on www.billycboxing.com called Captain Jack. Now, if you're new to this show, or if you just tuned into this post-fight show, don't forget, we do the Talking Boxing with Billy C show every single day. We air live from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on BillyCBoxing.com. If you're looking for us on the internet, we're also on the AM/FM radio dial, so check your local listings for that. And you can also find us on LDL TV, so check us out. Now, we do put a copy of the internet version up on YouTube every day, and you can check out our channel that has this show. It's www.youtube.com/talkinboxing. That's TALKINBOXING. And don't forget our Twitter page. We'd love to have you follow us on Twitter. It's at Talkin' Boxing. That's TALKINBOXING. Hey, listen, man, I appreciate all of the calls from you guys with your thoughts. I want to give a special thanks to my man Carl King for giving us his analysis tonight, and also Dax Khan for calling us, and special shout out to the raging babe herself, Michelle Rosado, who took some time out. She was ringside in Las Vegas, so check her out. You can follow her on Twitter at Raging Babe. And make sure you tell her Billy C sent you. Would appreciate that. Hey, man, we'll be airing live on Monday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're there. And until then, thanks for joining us. And ciao, baby.